Right. So how much more so? I don't want. There are Franciscans, actually. Right. Well, I'm Francis. I'm also Francis John, but my father was Francis John, and Saint Francis of Assisi was Francesco Giovanni Bernardoni. So he was Francis John. But my own father was. I took my father's name, so I'm the second son. My own son is Robert Francis because my grandfather, my father's father, was Robert Bush. He was a Methodist lay preacher and a master baker, and he would go, not often I suppose, but he would walk 20 miles on a Sunday to give a sermon, and 20 miles back. You tried, you're up at 3 in the morning for that. 20-mile walk, preach, 20 miles back. That's a long day. We're strong people, good, solid, both sides of my family. I chose my parents well, and I mean that. How could Isaiah possibly prophesy that Christ would come in 700 years' time? Ridiculous, because of the Holy Spirit. That's how. I've chosen my parents well. They're both sides of my family. Good, strong, solid, middle-class types. A missionary, doctors, nurses, farmers, solid people. Master baker and so on. Just solid middle class, not upper class lot, and not, working class, bright. And one of my relatives on my grandfather's father, I don't know, they swept the board with degrees from Oxford and Cambridge, and Oxford it was. I mean, they're just bright people around. I've got all this stuff in my background, I know about it. But I've got my feet on the ground too. That's what part of the point that I'm getting at here. I'm not an interbred, fancy nobility family with a silver spoon and living and all this stuff where, mother used to sweep little old ladies' floors to put us through public school to get the extra money and to take lodgers. So, we're not above. We had servants in South Africa. To my great-great-grandmother, the children we brought in, I do know how to behave. I had to bow before they spoke, and if Granny didn't want to speak, fine. Take the children away. So I do know how to behave. It pisses me off when people treat me like a tramp and they think, who's that tramp? Anyone thinks they're better than me, that attitude, oh God, I try and walk away from it if I can. They've been really sweet at this hotel. I'm just like one of them. I mean, it costs 100 quid or whatever a night, which I haven't got, but they just let me in. I'm in my little corner. But this is what I've done anyway, and I'm quite used to doing this. Just the only difference is I slept under a tree. But this little morning wake-up is civilized. I've got my own coffee here. Nick there's. I've got better coffee, actually. Dow Edwards. I like good coffee. We didn't roast our own, but I used to grind my own properly, okay, for the cafetiere, proper coffee. I do know a little bit about coffee, incidentally. You accuse me of knowing only about tea, young lady. Young lady from Brazil.
And they once a month or once a quarter they transfer workers in there to us from their head office, and they do that to your say who then reconciles it. If we can get them to do that, our life will be 100 times easier. So that's when we're